Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. During the Republican era in China, many regions saw the rise of warlord-led factions, each controlling a specific area. Yuan Shikai was one of the most significant warlords of this period. Yuan Shikai was born into an influential family in Hunan. His great-uncle was the governor of the Grand Canal Transport, and his father had also held an official position. From a young age, Yuan had a strong interest in military strategy and demonstrated his administrative skills while participating in disaster relief efforts in Kaifeng, gaining the attention of his superiors. In 1882, when a rebellion broke out in Korea and urgently required Qing Dynasty assistance, Yuan was tasked with leading the Qing army. He quickly quelled the rebellion, showcasing exceptional military talent. During the First Sino-Japanese War, Yuan participated in discussions about the modernization of military forces. He wrote a 10,000-word memorial to Emperor Guangxu, offering 12 reform suggestions regarding the Western-style military training, reflecting his strong reformist mindset. As the Qing dynasty weakened, Yuan Shikai gradually accumulated more power. Eventually, he became the governor of Zhili and the minister of Beiyang, pushing forward a series of reforms, including the establishment of modern schools and the promotion of agricultural reforms, all contributing to the modernization efforts of the country. However, Yuan Shikai's political ambitions gradually grew, and he eventually declared himself emperor, attempting to restore the imperial system. This action led to widespread criticism. In his personal life, Yuan, like many high-ranking officials, had numerous wives and concubines and lived a life of luxury. Yuan had one legal wife and 15 concubines. His legal wife, Lady Yu, was a traditional woman who was illiterate, lacked etiquette, and had a simple character, even resembling a rural woman, which made Yuan somewhat indifferent to her. As for his concubines, Yuan was not picky, and many had been prostitutes. For instance, his first concubine, Lady Shen, was a famous prostitute from Suzhou, and his sixth concubine, Lady Yi, had once been a prostitute in Nanjing. Yuan had a noticeable, lustful nature, and to maintain his energy for these numerous wives and concubines, he even took supplements like deer antler, ginseng, and seal penis every day to enhance his stamina. To manage the rotation of his concubines, he set a rule that each concubine would spend one night a week with him. Records show that Yuan Shikai had 17 sons and 15 daughters, and many of his children's marriages were quite prestigious. Some of his sons-in-law and daughters-in-law came from wealthy families, such as the governors of the Liangjiang region, military commanders from Shaanxi, and salt merchants from Tianjin. Due to having so many wives and concubines, Yuan Shikai sometimes had trouble distinguishing them. On one occasion, after getting drunk, he saw a beautiful woman walking by and mistakenly thought she was one of his concubines. He attempted to pull her into his room, only to realize later that it was his daughter-in-law when her screams brought his son to the scene. Although Yuan had a lustful nature, he valued face more. To prevent any more awkward situations at home, he decided to set a rule: women other than his concubines in the Yuan household must wear red pants to distinguish themselves. He had previously told his friends, "I've always held red in high esteem, and when I see red, I stand in awe." Therefore, he established this dress code for the women in his household. Later, he even planned, upon becoming emperor, to bestow titles like Empress or Imperial concubine upon his wives and concubines and select some of their maids to fill positions in the imperial harem. However, this plan was never realized due to changing circumstances. In addition to his lustful nature, Yuan Shikai also had many unhealthy habits. For instance, he was very particular about food, eating multiple large meals each day, often consuming greasy foods like steamed duck and braised pork. As a result, he became extremely overweight, to the point that he couldn't see his feet when standing. His indulgence in sensual pleasures and unhealthy eating habits rapidly deteriorated his health. He passed away from uremia in 1916 at the age of 57. According to historians, during his tenure as president, Yuan Shikai took several steps to strengthen his military power and control. He established the Grand Marshal headquarters of the Army and Navy and began to form a model army to consolidate military power in his hands. At the beginning of Yuan Shikai's government, military power was largely in the hands of the army under the control of Duan Qirui, who had once achieved great military successes for Yuan. However, the power of the Ministry of the Army gradually expanded. Duan Qirui sometimes had the authority to independently decide on the promotion or dismissal of officers and often promoted his own students and subordinates, which led to the formation of factions within the army. This made Yuan very uneasy, as he highly valued military power, and Duan's expanding influence made him fear losing control over the military. To counter this trend, Yuan decided to establish the Grand Marshal headquarters to regain control. To further strengthen his control over the military, Yuan Shikai also reformed the Beiyang army by establishing an elite unit, citing the stifled atmosphere of the Beiyang forces as justification. This new model regiment was personally commanded by his eldest son, Yuan Keting. Through this method, Yuan hoped to cultivate a group of officers who were absolutely loyal and would follow his orders without question. In addition to the model regiment, Yuan Shikai established the Military Academy, inviting many trusted officers from the Beiyang 6 divisions as well as young officers recommended by key military and political figures within Yuan's regime to participate in the training. The head of the Military Academy was Jiang Yanqing. After receiving Yuan Shikai's favor, these officers were generally fully loyal to him. Yuan Shikai's plan wasn't just about cultivating and promoting officers. He also intended to use the personnel from the model regiment and military academy to gather intelligence about the military situation in different regions and to implement his political agendas. Graduates of the model regiment, in addition to being selected as elite officers, would also be dispatched to various provinces to serve as company and platoon leaders, instructors, and other positions. Through these measures, Yuan Shikai could not only monitor the dynamics of local military forces but also gradually concentrate military power in his hands. Furthermore, in terms of developing industry and commerce, Yuan Shikai believed that, with the founding of the Republic of China, it was essential to prioritize the development of industry, industrial and commercial sectors. To this end, he took many measures to promote this area of development and placed great emphasis on advancing industrial and commercial growth. He invited 2 industrial and commercial magnates, Zhang Jian and Zhou Xueshi, to join the government and support the formulation of a series of policies and regulations. These policies included the company regulations, interim company registration rules, interim craft reward regulations, and merchant regulations. These policies encouraged the growth of businesses and promoted the rapid development of industry, winning enthusiastic support from the industrial and commercial communities. As a result, numerous businesses emerged. According to statistics, in 1912, there were 14 registered industrial companies. By 1913, this number had increased to 25, and by 1914 it rose to 89. By 1915, there were 102, showing a trend of annual growth. While these numbers may seem small, the registration system at the time was imperfect, and many companies were not officially registered, meaning the actual number of companies was much higher. Therefore, under Yuan Shikai's leadership, Chinese national industry and commerce experienced a period of rapid development. Regarding currency reform, Yuan Shikai sought to unify the silver coinage and, in 1914, began minting new silver coins. The standard for the new coins was set at 1 yuan weighing 7 taels and 2 fun, equivalent to kupu pure silver, 6 taels, 4 fun, and 8 milligrams. The obverse of the new coins bore Yuan Shikai's portrait, earning them the nickname Yuan Big Head. The specifications, form, weight, and purity of these new coins were highly standardized, and once issued, they circulated rapidly across the country, replacing the older silver coins and becoming the new legal tender. Subsequently, the Yuan Shikai government, through cooperation with major banks like the Bank of China and the Bank of Communications, as well as the Currency Guild, decided that, starting from August 1, 1915, the new silver coin would replace the Longyang currency in circulation. This decision marked the first time that China's silver dollar market was unified. Thus, Yuan Shikai, as a key figure in modern Chinese history, demonstrated both exceptional political skills and significant controversy. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.